Hello and welcome to this week's Tech Talk. Every week we try to explain how to solve everyday problems with the everyday technology you might be using. This week we're talking about Wi-Fi routers again. To help you and me understand more, with me is Tech Talk expert Chris Jennings.
Hi Tracy, nice to be back. It's a bit warm in here today, isn't it?
It's very warm.
Oh, yes. Right, now last week, as you may remember, we were talking about basic Wi-Fi routers.
Yep.
And how to use them. Now, the problem that a lot of people come across is they stick a Wi-Fi router in their front room and they want to use Wi-Fi upstairs in the bedroom, and it just doesn't work, or it might work but very slow. Now, the reason for that is, especially on different levels, a Wi-Fi router, you see these antennas here.
Yeah.
If you imagine a donut, a big donut stuck over those antennas, yeah, that's where the signal goes. It doesn't go up and down, it goes around like a donut shape around those antennas. Yeah.
In like rays.
Yeah. Rays, yeah. Going out. But not a lot goes up or down. That's why, especially on a different floor level, pretty rubbish. Now, also, you'll find that if you have to go through lots of walls and stuff like that, the signal drops every time it goes through something. And so the way around this is to extend your wireless signal. Now, there's many different ways of doing this, some better than others. Now, our preferred method is a thing called power line extenders.
Right.
Now, power line extenders, what they do is, where your Wi-Fi router is in your front room there, you basically, get the right end, you plug this into one end, into your Wi-Fi router, and you stick it in a power socket.
Right.
Right.
So
and then,
with a cable or not?
Yeah, there's a cable between here and the Wi-Fi router, and you plug that into a power socket, and then you go to the room, sorry, that's not the right one, that one. You go to the room where you want to have Wi-Fi, and then you find yourself a socket and you plug that in. And by electricity and magical stuff, the signal goes through the power lines, and then reaches here as though it was a cable all the way. But it's actually using the existing power lines to send the signal up to this one. And then this is actually another Wi-Fi router, which puts out another signal, and that solves most problems.
And how much would one of those cost?
Yeah, you're talking anything from sort of 60 to 100 euros, depending on the brand you buy. They all work the same way.
There's none better than others. They all do pretty much the
as long
same
as
thing.
I mean, go for a brand name. Always go for a brand name like TP-Link or Belkin, something you've heard of. Don't go for something from Eastern countries.
So just because it's more expensive doesn't mean it's any better?
No, not necessarily. Obviously, you can buy cheap stuff from certain outlets that are very cheap. They ain't going to work so well. Get yourself a brand name.
Yeah.
Worth the extra bit of cash. Not a lot of money. And literally, this Wi-Fi device here, this thing, you can literally, so you've got it in your upstairs bedroom, and you think, you want to go down to the underbuild.
Yeah.
You think, unplug it, take it down to the underbuild,
oh, really?
Plug it in, and you've got Wi-Fi down there then. Or you could just buy more of these and have a few around the house.
So even if you have, let's say if you've got them all over your house, is it still going to work as efficiently as if you just had one or two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's all going through the power line. So the big advantage over using extenders. Now, a Wi-Fi extender is something you plug in, something like this. It's got a couple of antennas on it and you plug it into a power socket. Now, what that does, an extender, we don't recommend people use them because they are troublesome. Basically, you have your Wi-Fi router here giving out a signal.
Yeah. And
instead of sending it through the power line, this thing is plugged somewhere else in the house, in a bedroom, like we were doing with these. And the idea is this picks up the signal from the router and then repeats it out.
Right.
But that don't work very well because for this to repeat the signal, it's got to have a good signal in the first place. So say you want to use a repeater to get Wi-Fi in your bedroom upstairs, you'd have to find somewhere halfway between this router and the bedroom where it's sort of, this can see that and your phones can see that also.
Right,
Very
so there's
awkward.
not much point in having one of them. So that's a repeater.
That's a repeater.
These are extenders.
Yeah, well, they're all extenders, but these are called power line extenders.
Power line extenders, and that's a repeater.
That's a repeater. We don't recommend those. They're more trouble than they're worth, and there's not a lot of difference in price.
And are they safe to leave on all the time?
Yeah, absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all properly rated. As long as you buy brand names.
Yes.
Yeah. They're all properly rated for safety, and they use tiny amounts of power. Absolutely nothing. Obviously, if you're going away for a long time, then unplug everything anyway.
All,
yeah, always.
Yeah.
Just in cases. There is one issue with these power line extenders, because each end of the pair, these two, when you plug them into a socket, those sockets have to be on the same circuit. Now, unfortunately, a lot of Spanish houses don't really follow what you think they should be, and you'll find some sockets on one socket on one circuit, other sockets on another circuit. And
so how do they find that out?
right, quite simple. You plug this one in by your router cable in, and then on this, you probably can't see it on the camera, but there are little lights, and there's one that says connected.
Right.
Like, and when you find a socket that is on the same circuit as this, the little light will come on and say, yep, connected. And there you go. So if you find one socket doesn't work, you often find another socket in the same room will be on the same circuit.
So you don't have to go and flick all your...
No, you don't have to touch your electrics at all.
No.
It's just a case of finding two sockets that are on the same circuit.
Yeah.
Mostly, most campsite houses are fairly straightforward. They've usually got one circuit.
So it's simple enough, and you don't need an engineer or anything.
No. I mean, at the end of the day, you've bought them, and there are no sockets that work together. Just send them back, especially, and get a refund, and then go for plan.
Would would that mean you couldn't have Wi-Fi?
Yeah. You'd have to go for a different method. Now, I've already explained we don't like these extenders.
Yeah.
They're more trouble than they're worth. The next option. Well, there's two options really, because if you want to get the Wi-Fi upstairs, then one of these outdoor ones will kill two birds with one stone. It'll do the outside, but because they're quite powerful, they'll also cover your upstairs as well.
Oh, really?
So you could do that. Or if you weren't worried about the garden, the simplest is to put another Wi-Fi router upstairs for the upstairs level.
Right.
And you just have to have a cable run between the two.
Yeah.
And you have a separate router.
So this
upstairs.
one that you say is for outside.
Yep.
Does this need a cable of
That's
any
the one
sort?
that needs a cable up from
the router to...
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how powerful is that?
They're very powerful. They'll actually reach up to 4 or 5 kilometres. So obviously when we install them, we always make sure we crank it down to a reasonable level, otherwise you're blowing all your neighbours away.
Even if you crank it down, would it still affect somebody else who's on?
No, not as long as you keep it down low enough. I mean, one of the reasons we recommend that you tilt them down to the garden is the beam is not going out to the rest of the houses. It's just going down to your garden. Keeps it more contained so it doesn't upset too many people. I think that's about it, I think, on Wi-Fi extenders.
So are trees or anything going to affect this?
Well, yes. If you put this and there's a tree between this and the device you want to use, then so obviously you think carefully about where you're going to stick it up on the roof, just to make sure there's no...
And then if you've got, like myself, if you've got a long garden rather than a high, where would you put it? Does it have to still be high, or?
I would still prefer it to be high, although you could put it at a level. But but then you've got the problem of it possibly bleeding over everybody else. So I would still put it high and tilt down if you can.
Yeah.
It's a case of what you can and can't do, depending on your property and all that sort of stuff.
And how much is something like this?
Again, these are around about €100 maybe. That depending if you go, whoever your internet provider is, you may find that they'll come and install it for you as a whole price. It's best to get, if you're not very techy, it's best to get an installer, a professional network guy to stick it in for you, because he can also check the signals, make sure it's pointing the right way and it's not too powerful. Stuff
and it's
like
not
that.
bleeding onto somebody else.
That's right. These things you can install yourself. They're pretty straightforward. You just literally plug and play, and away you go.
And then price range of them is anything from and to?
Yeah, they range from sort of 40 to €60 just to buy them. And then if you want to get somebody to install them for you, which you probably don't really need, because it is literally plug one in, plug the other one. As long as you know you've got to look for that little light. They all come with instructions on how they work.
And do you use any bandwidth if you use these? Do you lose any?
That's the advantage of these. This one and this one, you're getting your full speed. Whatever your speed is, you'll get the full speed through them. These old extenders, again, that we don't like, now they half the speed. Because half the time it's receiving, half the time it's sending it back on. So they half whatever speed you got. Another reason we don't like them. But the other options, you get your full speed through it. Like
Very good.
Yeah. Have you got anything like that in your house?
I have, but I don't even look at it. It's all down to Jonathan.
I hear he's got a big black one.
He has, with 4 antennas, but he doesn't know what to do with it.
Well, the next show I'm going to do is all about those big black ones with lots of antennas.
Really?
Yeah, so that's quite interesting.
Oh, he'll be able to watch that then.
Yeah. And how to twiddle his antennas to get the best.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much, Chris. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to tune in the same time next week for more Tech Talk. Bye.
Bye. See you next week.